Welcome to Retirement Today. I'm your co-host, Zach Holcomb, and alongside me, as always, we have Michael Reese, founder and president of Centennial Advisors, headquartered right here in beautiful Austin, Texas. Mike, we have a great show on our hands tonight. But first of all, how are you today?
As you know, I'm always doing great. It's Austin, Texas, baby. How can I not be doing great?
Greatest place in the world to be. Happy to have you alongside me, as always. We have a really important show on our hands today. I know every single week we're talking about really important stuff when it comes to the world of retirement planning, but this is a big one, okay? So I just came across this article from the New York Times, just got put on my desk here this evening. They're talking about getting old is a crisis that more and more Americans can't seem to afford. Now, some of the things they're talking about, this is information that a lot of us are, pretty well versed on, where, but I'm going to share this with you anyways. Half of U.S. households over 55, they have no retirement savings. You know this, right?
Okay, so by the way, first of all, what's your source here, Zach?
The New York Times.
Okay,
I know.
They just make up stuff as they go, right?
These sources are cited.
But for what it's worth, it's not a political.
Yes.
It's not a political article, so we could maybe count on it being at least semi-true.
I would hope so, anyways.
All right, so they're saying that half of Americans have no retirement savings?
Zero. Absolutely nothing.
Man, I find that so hard to believe.
It's absolutely crazy, isn't it? And then half of Americans over 65, they're living on Social Security alone, $18,000 a year. How are people even able to do that?
Okay, so my first comment is, all right, so this is where I'm going to come out. This is how I was raised. All right, so as soon as I hear that, I'm going to say this, Zach, I'm probably going to... You know what? I hope I don't offend half of the people listening right now.
Okay.
But I remember when I was raised that my parents instilled within me a strong sense of personal responsibility.
Right.
It's like I'm supposed to, as an adult, make decisions so that I'm standing on my own 2 feet. Part of personal responsibility is, hey, save some money along the way so that you don't end up living on nothing but Social Security. Now, with that being said, I know. Now, by the way, don't be like calling in and emailing us, talking about what a heartless, a-hole I am, right? Because I do recognize that there are people out there that have legitimate reasons for not having savings.
Yeah, circumstances
later
happen.
in life.
Yeah.
Things do occur. I get it. And you know what? My heart goes out to those people. But half? You can't tell me half of the population are just victims, right? I mean, it's like, come on, people. Yeah, you can't sit there and, oh, man, that's rough. I don't like hearing that.
It really is.
I don't know. I don't know how. Where are they getting this from? How accurate is this really?
This is a report from Fidelity.
From Fidelity, no less.
Yes.
Holy cow. I wonder where I question where they got this. But okay, so let's assume that they're correct. So they're saying half of the population, no retirement savings, and half of the population basically retired with nothing but Social Security income only.
Yep.
And it's how much? Like 18 grand a year, you
It's
said?
a little over 18 grand a year.
All right. This just kills me. Okay.
So let's look at that, $18,000 a year. Let's compare that to the price of what long-term care is right now. So Nationwide put out a study in 2020. The median cost of having a semi-private room in a nursing home for a year, $93,000. That's an unbelievable number.
So 93 grand a year, that's median. That means like it's the middle.
Yes.
Holy cow. So obviously 18 grand isn't going to cut it.
Right.
So here's the deal. First and foremost, as much as I question these statistics, right? Because you know me, Zach. I'm old enough to be skeptical.
Right.
I'm skeptical on a lot of things. What if it's not half the population? What's 10%? Right.
Sure.
It doesn't really matter what the number is. Here's what I do know. I know that number one, the average person is not saving enough money for retirement. We do know that. Look, we know that to be true. Now, we do live in Austin, Texas. There's a lot of you out there listening. Man, you've done a great job saving for retirement. You're saving How many times a day, Zach, am I talking to someone in their 50s who are saving the full $26,000 a year in their 401k? I was talking to a guy today that's like, hey, I need to save more than that. And that's great. That's great if you're in a position to do it. I applaud you if you are doing it. By the way, here's what I would highly recommend. So I told this to my daughter, Sarah. I tell this to all my kids. And you've probably heard me say it to you. But here's what I'm telling you. If you're having trouble saving, and you don't want to be one of these group of people that have nothing saved, right? So let's say you're out there and you're just saying, man, I'm just struggling saving money. Well, here's what you do. Just start with 2 or 3%. Put it in your 401k or an IRA. Just set it up automatically. You are not going to write 2 or 3%. You're not even going to notice it's gone. And then what do? 6 months later, do another 1%. 6 months later, do another 1%. Before you know it, you're saving some real money. Like my daughter, Sarah, she's 27. And she was telling me the other day, look at this, Dad, I'm so proud of myself. Not only did she buy a house, by the way, she's up to 10%, right? But did she start there? No, she started at 5. And then 6 months later, she did 6. And 6 months later, she did 7. She's now at 10. And now she's looking forward to 6 months later where she gets up to 11. Well, you got to start somewhere, right?
Right.
So don't be one of these people. So step number 1, save some money, right? Long-term care. Healthcare expenses in retirement are going to be significant.
Right.
You've got to assume that. So here's the thing. When you're younger, get in the habit of saving money. When you're in your 50s, here's the thing. You start getting in your 40s, and especially in your 50s. Here's my question. Are you talking to a financial advisor to know how much you should be saving? I was on the phone earlier, last week. Had a great conversation, super nice couple. They were in their late 40s. And he's been doing really well at work. He's making a pretty good income. And he said something to me. Actually, they said something to me that I hear all the time. They said, Mike, we've kind of gotten to the point where we just kind of spend money all over the place. We know we are wasting money. The problem is this, like in the back of our heads, we know we should be saving more money. But here's the thing. We don't know how much we should be saving.
Right. They need a plan.
We need a plan. We need someone to help us map that out. Like if you just tell me, they said, just tell me, give me the number. Tell me how much to save. I'll do it.
Right.
And then I can spend the rest of my income guilt-free.
Yeah. They need a plan because everybody's number is different.
That's right. But just tell me what I'm saving. What's my plan? And what it really comes down to, and this is why we build our blueprint, right? See, at Centennial Advisors, my company, and here on Retirement Today, the radio show, we are big believers that you deserve to have a great retirement. You deserve to have the retirement of your dreams. But in order to do that, you just have to make good choices with your money. The problem is there's a lot of different areas you've got to make decisions on. You've got to make decisions on income planning and investment planning and tax planning and healthcare planning and estate planning. Like there's a million different things you got to decide. So it's kind of a big job and it's kind of complicated. And so we were thinking, you know what? How do we make it easy? How do we make retirement planning easy? How do we make it like on one page? Couldn't we drill down on one page the things that you need to get right in order to live that prosperous life, that prosperous retirement, where you can be confident that you're making the right choices? Or like this couple where you have that confidence, like, hey, I'm saving the right amount of money. I'm doing the right job. How do you get that down on one page? So we've been able to do that.
Yep.
And so one of the things I want to share is if you are sitting there, maybe you're sitting there saying, man, I'm making a pretty good amount of money, but am I saving enough? Am I doing the right job? How do I know? How do I make it easy? Well, I want to invite you to give us a call. Why not give us a call absolutely for free? We will put together for you a personalized prosperity planning blueprint. This is one page, tells you what you need to do to live that prosperous life, to make the right financial choices. Doesn't matter if you're retired, whether you're in your 50s, near in retirement, wherever you are in life, this will help you get on the right path, and it's easy. Zach, how do they get this free report?
Mike, like you say, it's easy peasy. All you have to do is give us a call at our number, 512-886-5850. Again, that number is 512-886-5850. It's after hours. You'll get our answering service. You set up a quick 15-minute call with our team, and we'll walk you through the process to get this personalized prosperity planning blueprint. Now, stick around. We'll be right back. We're going to continuing our discussion on saving for retirement. We'll be right back.
First, we've got people not taking personal responsibility. That drives me crazy.
Sure.
It's like they'd rather just claim they're a victim. You know what? If you want to be out there and just claim you're living your life as a victim, don't talk to me. You're bringing me down, right? You're where you are in life usually because of the choices you've made.
Sure.
Again, this isn't everybody. I'm absolutely... What is it? I'm big painting a broad brush here. I'm not talking about every single person out there. There are people that are truly victims that truly have issues.
Sure.
I just think that, I'm sorry, I think the majority of people who want to claim themselves as victims are, whatever. But take personal responsibility. Save money. Save money. Save some money. Spend some money. Find that good balance for yourself. Because guess what? Someday... you're not going to be working. You're going to have to replace your paycheck. You want to make sure that you're in good shape there. You want to be smart, right? Be smart. All right. So here we go.
What do you got here?
Oh, my gosh. We're about to talk about politicians some more.
Oh,
so
no.
You know I'm going to be irritated.
This is a
here.
great show.
I hate these people. All right. By the way, I talk about people I hate all the time. You know who I love?
Who do you like?
I love people who are, have positive attitudes. I love people who, they see the world as abundance. They look for opportunities. They're always trying to improve themselves. I like that kind of person. That, by the way, doesn't describe basically almost any politician. But anyway, Here we go. So we know that recently, if you're paying attention, both sides of the aisle got together and said, all right, we've got to throw some money at infrastructure.
Right.
Like, what was it, the 50s? We built all these highways and all these bridges. I mean, they're like 70 years old.
Ancient.
And, these bridges, throughout the country, you look at them, they're falling apart. They said, okay, and railroads, oh my gosh. So they said, let's do this. We need to create an infrastructure bill. We're going to throw $1 trillion at infrastructure.
Trillion with a T.
$1 trillion with a T.
Okay.
By the way, in case you're wondering, that's a lot of money. This always brings me back to one of my favorite movies.
Okay.
So, and as you're listening, here we go. Poor Zach. It's like you just try to keep me on topic, and there I go off on these tangents. But I hear $1 trillion, and right now I'm thinking of Dr. Evil, right? $1 million
with the
right?
pinky, yeah.
And like Dr. Evil, you might want to ask for a little more than that.
Yeah.
And he goes to billions.
Yep.
And our government says, oh, Dr. Evil, we've got to add some more zeros. Let's make it $1 trillion. And you know darn well what's going to happen. $1 trillion that they give to the infrastructure, like half of that maybe is going to go to infrastructure. The rest is going to go to special interest groups.
Right.
Which also drives me crazy, right? Anyway, no sooner, like the instant they pass that $1 trillion, bill, like the instant it's done, like immediately, here comes our quote unquote leaders / weasels in DC, and they're like, hey, this comes from CNBC. Now this one, I'm sorry, I don't know if you're more right leaning or left leaning. This one's all on the Democrat side. This is a Democrat led thing. The Republicans hate this idea. But again, any Democratic idea, remember the Republicans hate. Any Republican idea,
Sure.
the Democrats hate. That's just
the way it is.
These days, they don't even care to listen. But anyway, Democrats' $3.5 trillion budget plan. Basically, they said, we think we should spend $3.5 trillion next year just for the government to run.
Yep.
By the way, I don't know if you read this, but the Fed had to come in with emergency measures to lift the debt ceiling because they're spending so much money in D.C. These politicians, they're freaking morons when it comes to money, right? They're all of them, both sides of the aisle. They're morons when it comes to managing money. This is not their strong suit, right? These people, they spend money like crazy. They have no freaking clue. They honestly couldn't give a crap whether they actually balance a budget.
Right.
They don't care. All they want to do is, and especially right now, tax and spend, tax and spend, tax and spend. That's what they want to do. And you know what this is doing? This is the kind of stuff that bankrupts our children, our grandchildren. This is the kind of stuff where this is why tax rates are going to go up in the future. It's because of the, so-and-sos in D.C. who have not a financial bone in their body.
Right.
They're like a bunch of teenagers. Like, here, mom and dad says to the teenager, here's your credit card. Go spend all the money you want. We'll just pay for it. That's what they are. They're like teenagers with their first credit card with no sense whatsoever of how they're going to pay for anything.
Right. So all this spending going on, how is this going to affect our listeners, the public?
Yeah, so here we go, right? Thank you for bringing me onto this, right? So here's what's going on. See, this is Zach. This is why we're here together.
Got to bring you back in.
You got to say, all right, Mike, you're out there ranting. You're going crazy. We got to like corral you back into this. So, we've got one article saying, hey, people aren't saving money. And the cost of healthcare is getting out of control. So we got a problem there. How are you going to retire if you're not saving enough money? You can't replace your paycheck, and you can't even pay for healthcare. The answer is you can't. Right? Then we've got these other articles saying government's spending money like crazy. Spending it like crazy. Here's what's going to happen. Tax rates are going up. They're already talking about doing that now. We know that already if they don't do anything in Washington, D.C., tax rates go up in January 1, 2026 because the Trump tax code goes away, it vanishes at the end of 2025. So 2026 taxes go up automatically.
Yep.
They're spending money like drunken sailors. And I can have fun with that now because I have an ex-Navy person, Tony, who works here, an advisor here, ex-Navy, so I can make fun of him as the drunken sailor in the office. He's not, by the way. That's not who he is.
Just a joke. Yeah.
But it's fun. But they're spending money like the proverbial drunken sailor, right?
Yep.
Or the teenager with the first credit card. At some point, you got to pay it back. You got to pay it back. We all know this. This is obvious. It's simple. Who's going to pay it back? Well, if half the people aren't saving money, who's going to pay it all back? The half who actually do what they're supposed to be doing and are saving money. And so here's how it's going to impact you. It's all going to come from the tax bomb account that you have when it comes to your retirement savings. That tax bomb is called a 401k, a 403b, a 457, a traditional IRA. A profit-sharing plan, a pension plan. Money in these pre-tax accounts, money that's never been taxed, the IRS they're just going to increasingly, in the government, with strokes of the pen in Washington, D.C., they will increasingly be attacking your 401k. The money in your 401k, the money in your 403bs. They're going to be coming after it. And because this is where a lot of Americans, Zach, save a ton of money, this is what you need to do. So let's say that you are actually the person, the half of the population that's doing the right job. You're actually saving money. Good for you. But if you're saving it in your 401k, you might be building up a tax bomb.
Right.
And the question is, how do you protect yourself? How do you immunize that account from future tax increases? That's where things like Roth conversions come into play. You want to know the number one question I get when I talk to people? It's, Mike, I know I should be doing Roth conversions. I know I should be moving money to something that's tax-free. My challenge is nobody can help tell me how much I should move each year.
Right.
How much do I move each year? Well, that's one of the questions we answer, right, in our prosperity planning blueprint. One of the questions, so retirement planning is complicated. A lot of decisions you have to make. So what we wanted to do is we said, how do we make it easy? How do we make retirement planning easy? How do we help you make the right decisions in the core areas that you have to make so that, I want it to be simple. I want it on one page. Can we put on one page, can we capture on one page the 3 core areas that you need to get right so that you can retire comfortably someday, right? Or if you're already retired, what 3 areas do you have to get right to make sure that you stay retired, right? When you retire, you don't want to have to go back to work. Right. How do you make sure you stay retired? And that's what our prosperity planning blueprint's all about. And this is something that we do for you. It's a free service we provide. It's personalized to you, the benefit to you. This will help you know that you're making the right choices with your planning. And it's easy. Zach, easy number to call. What do they do?
512-886-5850. Again, that number is 512-886-5850. Give us a call. You reach our answering service. It's after hours. You'll set up a quick 15-minute discussion with our team, and we'll help you get this personalized prosperity planning blueprint. Now, stick around. We'll be right back, continuing our discussion on the importance of saving for retirement. We'll be right back. How do you know how much you should be saving for retirement? How do we find my number? How do we figure this out?
See, now that is a great question. I don't think we talk about this enough.
Right.
How much should you be saving for retirement, right? By the way, tonight I also feel like I'm full of, what do they call it? As my father would say, I hope I don't get beeped out here, piss and vinegar.
Oh, my gosh. Let's just say energy.
I'm full of something tonight.
Oh, my gosh.
That's a really good question. Like, how much should we be saving, though, for retirement? And, I will tell you this. I remember way back when I started out, I'm a certified financial planner, as we all know. And back when I started, the rule of thumb was you should save 10% of your money in your 401k or IRA, or 10% of your income. You make it $100,000 a year, save 10,000 of it, right? But 10%, that was the golden rule.
Right.
There were books written about it. And, back when I started, this was the 90s, and we were at that point conservatively assuming, conservatively, that you would average 10% a year. By the way, do you know what the stock market has earned on average from 2000 through 2020, that 21-year period?
Over 20%, right?
Per year?
Yeah.
Try 7.
7, wow.
7% a year for a 20-year period. I thought it was supposed to earn 10% a year.
Right.
Well, here's how it works. Sometimes the market has periods where it does earn 10% a year or more, and sometimes it doesn't. And it turns out we don't get to control that.
Right.
So how does that affect how much you should be saving? Right? So here's what I would tell you. First, as they say, start early and often, right? As soon as you start working when you're in your 20s, start saving money. Now, if you could save 10% a year when you're in your 20s, odds are good that you're going to be in really good position. Assuming, and by the way, at that stage in your life, just invest in the stock market. You'll have good years. You'll have bad years. Who freaking cares? Who cares if you have bad years? It doesn't matter. You don't need the money yet. You're not going to need the money for several years. Invest for the long run. Let yourself go through ups and downs. You'll be fine. It'll be great, right? But what if you're older? What if you start later in life, like 30s or even 40s? Well, guess what? You might need to save more like 15%.
Got to bump that number up a little bit.
Got to bump it up, right? And you know what the big problem is these days? Maybe we'll talk about this in the next segment. I don't know. Big problem these days is a lot of people, used to be, like when my parents retired, they were always told save 10%. But they also, when they retired, had a pension. So when they retired, they had Social Security. They had a pension. And then like their retirement savings, their 401k and stuff, it's kind of like extra money.
Right.
Well, what about people retiring today?
Not so much the case.
They don't really have pensions.
Right.
They have Social Security and their 401k.
Right.
Companies said, instead of putting money into a pension, we're just going to give you a match in your 401k. We like that better. And if you're a company, yeah, that's way better. You take the responsibility off your shoulders of delivering lifetime income. So a lot of people retiring today, it's like, okay, I've got Social Security and that's it. That plus and we learned that's not necessarily a big number for a lot of people, right? The average Social Security I think I see is around maybe $2,500 a month, $30,000 a year.
Sure.
But for a couple, maybe it's more like between both of them, maybe it's 45,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of hard to live a great life these days on 45,000 a year.
Yep.
Where's the rest of the money coming from? It's coming from your retirement savings. And where are interest rates right now? Are they high or are they low?
Low.
They're very low. Here's what Morningstar is telling us. Morningstar says if you've got $1 million saved for retirement, Zach, do you know how much money Morningstar says you should take out for income each year? You got $1 million. How much should you pull out for income each year? And they say don't pull out more than this number or you're probably going to run out of money. What do you think the number is?
3%.
Very close, $28,000.
Wow.
3% would be $30,000.
Almost there.
But think about it. You got Social Security. That's like if you're married, $45,000. You got $1 million saved for retirement. You can pull out basically $30K. And you're at $75,000 for retirement. Is that good enough? What if you want to retire in $100,000? Maybe you need $2 million or more income. So the reality is, this is a big job. That's reality. The good news is, the sooner you start, you've got Tom on your side for compounding. Compounding, Albert Einstein described, the eighth wonder of the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the deal is, how much should you be saving? Well, here's what it comes down to. This is what it comes down to. I'm going to give you a simple rule of thumb for how much you need to have in your accounts for work to be optional for you. So I know Morningstar says you can only take out 3%. Well, Morningstar is also assuming that you're working with an advisor who doesn't know what they're doing with retirement income planning, or they're assuming that you're doing it yourself. Mm-hmm. So let's say they can only get 4% income. So let's be a little conservative here.
Okay.
What you do is you just simply say, all right, what's your income goal in retirement? And I'm just going to make it a round number. Say you want $100,000 a year. You say, okay, I want $100,000 a year in retirement, which is great for a lot of people. Like, oh, that'd be sweet. Some people, it's like, how do I live on that? And other people will be like, holy cow, I wouldn't know how to spend all that money.
Right.
But let's use that number. It's a round number. You might want more, you might want less, but it's $100,000. And then you say, all right, what are our sources of income? What do we have covered? For most people, Social Security. For the sake of discussion, let's assume that it's $40,000 of Social Security.
Okay.
Right? That would mean, oh, wow, I'm short $60,000.
We got a gap to make up.
What do I need? I need $60,000. You know what? And I'm doing this in my head on the fly. I'm going to make it easier on myself for math. Let's assume that Social Security is $50,000.
Okay.
Between husband and wife.
Okay.
So you got to cover $50,000.
Okay.
It's easier in my brain.
Sure.
So here's a question. If you can get 4% income, how big of a pot of money do you need to generate $50,000? Do you know what the answer is?
Quite a bit.
$1.25 million. That's the number.
Okay.
How's that? If you want $60,000, it's $1.5 million. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. If you're sitting there saying, okay, I want $100,000 in retirement and I've got $50,000 of joint Social Security income, you probably need somewhere between $1.2 to $1.5 million to be in good shape.
Yeah.
That's how you know if you've got that much money, then now work is optional, right? But then here's the challenge. You're saying, but Mike, I only have $500,000 saved. You're telling me I got to double that I got to more than double? Like, how much do I have to save to make this happen? How long is it going to be? Well, general rule of thumb, have you ever heard the rule of 72, Zach?
Mm-hmm.
That says you take whatever earnings rate you have, divide it into 72. That's how long it takes for your money to double.
Yep.
So you say, okay, I got 500 saved, and I'm adding to it every year. Well, how long before I get to $1.3 million? Well, if you earn 7% a year, it takes 10 years to double. So your 500 goes to $1 million. So in 10 years at 7%, you got $1 million. You figure you're adding along the way, right? Let's say you're 52 years old. You're adding the full $26,000 a year. That's over 10 years, $260,000. You add some growth on that, you're there.
Yep.
But it's just math, right? You just got to do the math. But here's the problem for a lot of people. You know what I've learned? I did this talk and I asked, show of hands, how many of you love math? Raise your hand. How many people raise their hand?
And they were like, I don't think so.
About 10% of the room.
Yeah.
People don't like math.
No.
So we thought to ourselves, you know what? We're talking about how much money you need to save.
Right.
So you can enjoy a prosperous financial life. People don't like to do math, but you got to do math. So how do we make it simple?
Right.
That's where our blueprint comes into play. Here's the deal. Let's say you're sitting there, you're like, Mike, this is a great discussion. I need to know how much I need to save for retirement. Help me out. Make it easy on me to figure this out. Well, all you got to do is call us. If you call us, we'll put together a prosperity planning blueprint. It's a one-page piece of paper that tells you, here's what you need to do with your investments. Here's how you need to handle your taxes. Here's how you need to handle this savings thing that we're talking about. One page, super simple, gives you answers that are personalized, customized just for you. How much should you be saving for your retirement? Well, to find out, give us a call. What's that number?
Mike, that number's easy. It's 512-886-5850. Again, that number's 512-886-5850. If you want to get your personalized prosperity planning blueprint, you give us a call. It's after hours. You'll reach our answering service. You just set up a quick 15-minute call with our team, and we'll walk you through the process to get yours. It's super simple and easy.
Yeah, and here's the best part. Like if you call, they set up a time for you to talk to somebody. A lot of the times you're talking to my man Zach right here.
I know.
You
I'll
get
be
to
waiting
talk
for
to
you.
Zach, and Zach will be like, "Oh," and you can say, "Poor Zach." When you talk to him, you say, "Zach, how do you deal with Mike? He's all over the board," and it'll be great.
Right.
All right, listen, don't go anywhere. Last segment's coming up. We will be right back. We're going to wrap this show up. It's going to be glorious. Talk to you in a minute.
Beginning of the show, we talked a lot about saving for retirement. People aren't doing enough of it, and healthcare costs, they're going up. So how are people going to find the funds and the assets in retirement to pay for these costs? And also, we talk about this a lot. There's a lot of spending going on in D.C., so who's going to be paying those bills when the time comes?
That's right. So here we go. So let's kind of recap this. So first, let me see this thing, Zach. You got my man Zach. He's always so prepared, right? I'm just sitting here. He's all prepared for these shows, and then I just get up here and just go off on tangents and yelling and
saying whatever,
have problems. I hate people in D.C.
Hey, get back on track. Get back on track.
So first article came from New York Times. This was like August 9, 2021.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't if they're talking about political items, I think the New York Times is a very non-legitimate source. They have they are not very objective.
Sure.
Right? And I'm being very nice about that.
Yes.
But this is not a political article. This is something about the title of the article is "Getting Old is a Crisis That More and More Americans Cannot Afford."
Right.
And in this article, they actually quote a Fidelity, right, Zach? A Fidelity study that says something like half of Americans don't have any savings at all.
Not a dime.
Which, by the way, I'm going to go off on that because I'm like, let's have a little, hey, we're Americans. Let's have a little personal responsibility and actually take care of ourselves.
Yes.
Right? So half of Americans have no savings. Shame on you. For the half of you that are saving money, let me say congratulations. Let me pat you on the back and let me say great job to you for doing the right thing.
Yep.
If you're not saving money, though, come on. There's no excuse for that. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Almost always no excuse.
Right.
Like I come across people that aren't making hardly any money and they save. I mean,
they find a way.
It's called living within your means.
Yes.
It's like I read somewhere that, or I heard on the radio that one of these big rap guys, one of the billionaires out there, give me some names.
Drake.
Yeah, it wasn't him, but one of those guys.
Yeah.
He has, he's like a basketball player. He's got 14 kids by 13 different baby mamas or something, right? Anyway, and I'm probably getting this whole story
your point?
wrong. I'm getting there. But anyway, one of his kids is like 38 years old.
Mm-hmm.
She's living in her car. She's basically homeless, and dad's a billionaire.
Right.
But because they're estranged, dad won't give her money.
Sure.
And on the radio, they're like, is that good? Is that bad? What is that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? But here's the point. Talking about living within your means.
Mm-hmm.
Her car payment's like $2,000 a month.
Right.
So she can't afford a house, but she's got a car payment for $2,000. Who in the world who can't afford a house decides, yeah, let's have a car. Let's go get a car with a car payment of $2,000 a month?
Not living within your means.
And how do you even qualify for that loan anyway?
Right.
My point is, it doesn't matter where you're in life. I mean, there's a good example. Someone that's obvious. They probably have no savings.
Yep.
And they're not living within their means.
Right.
But whose fault is it? Right? It's her fault.
Yeah.
So people aren't saving money. And then healthcare, in that same article, healthcare is going through the roof. Long-term, what was the number? They said, like, if you need long-term care, like the median price is what?
$93,000 a year.
Ugh. It's just, and you know what? What if you need like 4 or 5 years? You have Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking $500,000 gone to the nursing home. And, I mean, easy. We all know people that, have blown through their life savings because they have to go to a nursing home, right?
Yeah.
So, and those aren't the only costs. There are other costs involved. So we got that issue going on. People aren't saving enough money. Healthcare costs are going up. It just makes living a prosperous financial life that much harder.
Yep.
Right? Which is our goal. We want you to live the retirement you deserve. We want it to be a great retirement. We want you to enjoy confidence and comfort and peace of mind and all that great stuff. But you got to make great decisions. So let's imagine you've got that one figured out. You're like, all right, that's not my problem. I'm saving money. I'm doing a great job saving money. And I hope that's you. And what we've learned, I've done this for 26 years now. What I've learned over the years is this. Whenever you're facing retirement, if you're getting to the point where work is optional, you're going to be facing one of two problems, and maybe both. But problem number one, you have a legitimate concern that you're going to run out of money, that you don't have enough money saved. That's the first problem. But let's say that's not you. You've been saving like crazy. You've been doing a great job saving, and you're sitting there. You're like, you're like the guy that called the office the other day that has $6 million saved in his 401k, right? And he literally, because of pension, Social Security, doesn't need any of it.
Doesn't need a dime.
Raise your hand right now if you want to be, if you want that guy to adopt you.
Hands are raised
you
on
could
this
be
set.
one of his children,
Yes.
right? No, but maybe you've done a great job. He's obviously an outlier, but you've done a good job. Maybe you've saved $1.5 million, $2 million, and like this is probably going to last. I probably have enough money. I'm not going to run out of money. That's not my problem. Well, then you've got problem number two. Problem number two is you now have a big bullseye painted on you. You are a target of the IRS. And that's just going to get worse because the other article we talked about came from CNBC. And the title is this is from CNBC, by the way. Democrats' $3.5 trillion budget plan, that's for 1 year spending, people.
Yep.
Would extend, and then they go on and talk about what it does, right? Basically, the Democrats right now in power are saying, we love the idea of tax and spend. We want to spend your money, and because you're too stupid to know how to spend it yourself, in their minds, I think. We want to spend your money. We want to have that power, and we're going to tax the heck out of you to do it, right? By the way, in that article, I'm sure they talk about they're going to close the loop on crypto or something. Right now, people who invest in crypto have some tax benefits that they're going to lose.
Right.
Anyway, the point is, they want to tax and spend. They are spending money like crazy. And at some point, the bill's going to have to be paid. We all know this, right? We all know this. This is not like surprise. We all know our government are, like when it comes to managing money, they're not even passing first grade, right? They're about as stupid as you can get when it comes to balancing a budget.
Yeah.
And as much as I'm bashing on them, I'm being nice because, honestly, everyone, if they were trying to run a company, they would have lost their jobs so long ago. They would have been booted out so long ago because you can't, they just have 0 sense of economic, like the basic stuff.
Right.
In your own household, if you run up a credit card, what do? You got to pay it. And you know that. Apparently, that's not basic understanding in Washington. If you become a congressman or a senator, you don't know that.
Right.
It's something you don't know how to do. Anyway, because of that, taxes are going up. They're going to go up. They're talking about raising taxes now. And if you are a saver and you have money in a 401k, 403b, you're a target. You've got to be making really smart choices now to protect your money, to protect yourself, protect your life savings, protect your financial security from the weasels in Washington, D.C. that can't do crap when it comes to managing money.
Yep.
That's what you got to do. You can't just bury your head in the sand. You got to do something. You need to have a regular meeting annually with your advisors working on your tax planning. And guess what I know? You probably don't have that meeting.
Nope.
Because advisors, that's too much work. They don't want to mess with that. So here's the deal. We got to wrap this show up. This is what I want you to do. Retirement planning, enjoying a prosperous financial life. You have to make a lot of really smart decisions. You mess up in one area, it could completely collapse everything else. This is not simple. It's not easy. It's complicated. But what we've done is we've said, you know what? Let's make it easy. Let's provide an easy way for you, an easy path to help you drill down and make sure you're making the right core decisions so that you can truly live that prosperous life, so that you're protecting your money from market risk, you're protecting that money from tax risk. You're just making sure that your money will last and that you can just really enjoy a wonderful, comfortable, peace of mind life without having to worry about what the world throws at you.
Yep.
You just got to make smart choices in core areas. And we're making it easy for you. It's called a prosperity planning blueprint. It's one page, one simple page, but it's personalized for you, and it captures all the decisions that you absolutely have to make. And the best part, it's free to get. It's simple. It's easy. All you got to do is give us a call, schedule a quick 15-minute call with the team. They'll help you get it. Why would you not do that? It's so simple. Zach, let's wrap this show up. Let's give everyone listening the number. And hey, no excuses. All you got to do, pick up the phone. Let's make this happen, man. Let's just do this.
Give us a call tonight, 512-886-5850. Again, that number is 512-886-5850. If you want your own personal prosperity planning blueprint, give us a call tonight. Hey, that's our show this week. We enjoyed having you here listening with us. We'll see you next time. Hi, and thanks for checking out Retirement Today. If you like the content we share on our channel, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you can stay notified about all of our latest content and videos. Be sure to share all of our information with your friends and family as well. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.